Caitlin Clark officially done for the 2025 WNBA season, as she and the Fever announced on social media. The Fever and Clark saying that she tried to get back on the floor. It appears that she just ran out of time, not able to get enough confidence back in her body as the season wraps up and the playoffs are likely about to begin for Indiana.
Caitlin Clark is officially done for the 2025 WNBA season. The Indiana Fever and Clark herself confirmed it across social media, and with that announcement, one of the most anticipated comebacks in women's basketball came to a screeching halt.
Caitlin Clark out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the playoffs.
I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, you know, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA.
She tried everything to get back on the court, spending hours in the gym and pushing through rehab, but in the end, the clock ran out. The regular season is closing, the playoffs are about to begin, and Clark won't be part of them.
Well, because Caitlin Clark fans, I want to say Fever fans, but at this point, so many of you, including myself, has lost faith in everybody involved in leadership and in management and coaching. We've just sort of, I got to tell you, I don't have any more real good things to say about the Fever organization as of now, because I will contend that they have known this was going to happen and they did not want to tell anybody.
Clark, a two-time All-Star and the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, has been sidelined suffering a right groin injury during the Fever's 87-77 win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15th. If you guys remember that game, Caitlin Clark put the team on her back in the winding minutes to give the Indiana Fever that lead. Clark also suffered a bone bruise at a later date during her recovery process.
This isn't just a tough break for Clark, it's a gut punch for Indiana. And honestly, it's a crisis for the WNBA.
Caitlin has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side, said Indiana Fever COO and GM Amber Cox. While we will continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength to start the 2026 season. Clark appeared in 13 games during the regular season, averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, while helping lead the team to the 2025 WNBA Commissioners.
And this is what Caitlin wrote. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way fans continue to show up for me in the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I'm so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through the adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot in the playoffs.
Fans were strung along for weeks with vague, day-to-day updates. Tickets sold out across the country because people thought her return was around the corner. Merchandise sales went through the roof. Now, refund requests are piling up, fans feel misled, and the league's most marketable star is sidelined. The first 5 minutes of this story are simple. Caitlin Clark's sophomore season never really happened. The injuries stacked up, the optimism kept getting recycled, and by the time the truth finally landed, the damage was already done.
Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Urge DOJ and FTC to investigate WNBA's misleading practices. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So we are here now. We are here now. And what's crazy about all of this is that, guys, this is I'm not going to come on here and say that they're going to lose. Because if there was an investigation going into this team, they're not going to lose this investigation. Oh, they're going to win. Whoever is representing Caitlin is going to win.
The WNBA didn't just lose a player. It lost its biggest draw, its ratings magnet, and the reason many casual fans were tuning in at all. So how did this happen? How did the golden goose of the league end up sidelined with a string of cascading injuries? Was it just bad luck? Or was it mismanagement masked with cautious optimism? And the bigger question, can Indiana survive this blow and still sneak into the playoffs? Let's break it down.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. They play against Breanna Stewart. She goes to the line 14 times. Asia Wilson goes to the line 13 times. And Aaliyah Boston can't play 20 minutes in a game without being on the bench in foul trouble. That's another problem that we're dealing with. But like I said, this year, it's not just Caitlin Clark. If you wear that Indiana Fever jersey, consider it done. The refs are not going to be fair, and they are going to cheat and do whatever it takes to do what the higher-ups say.
Clark's sophomore year never found rhythm. It began in May with what looked like a minor setback, quad tightness in the preseason. She missed a warm-up game, but the team brushed it off as precautionary. Then came May 24th, just her fourth game of the regular season. She strained the same left quad, and this time it was serious enough to sideline her for multiple games. Fans shrugged it off, telling themselves it was just part of the grind. After all, plenty of stars miss a week here and there.
For the last 2 weeks, Stephanie White knew where this was going to end up. I would say for the last month or so, they kind of had a feeling where this was going to go. The main issue, another day-to-day injury that turns into a season ender. Another day-to-day injury that turns into a season ender. And if you don't call that a lack of transparency, I don't know what to call that. They could have easily said 2 months, 1 to 2 months. Be evaluated in the next 6 weeks. Instead, they played this day-to-day, game-time decision, probable, questionable nonsense for the last 8 weeks. And that is why fans are so pissed off for the most part. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I know if they were upfront and didn't BS us, people wouldn't be that angry at the organization, at least not as angry as they are now.
By late June, another issue surfaced, a left groin strain. That was setback number 2, and it raised the first real red flag.
The Fever's still likely to make it into the playoffs, and I do continue to credit their resilience and what they've put up with and what they're capable of, and they will go down swinging when they do eventually go down, because I just don't think they have the talent to stay up at this point. But I mean, Caitlin Clark said it, disappointed is not a big enough word. And I feel it's fair to say that, you know, for any right-minded person, that's the word on everybody's mind getting the news that CC's season is indeed done.
It's unfortunate that we were robbed of Caitlin Clark's sophomore season. She came out with a triple-double against the Chicago Sky. Triple-double first game of the season. Returns from injury, 32 points against the New York Liberty. The best 45 seconds in the WNBA this year. Pull up three, bang. Pull up three, bang. Pull up three, bang. 9 points in 40 seconds.
Muscle injuries don't just appear out of nowhere. They often point to overcompensation. When one area isn't fully healed, the body shifts stress elsewhere. It's like patching one hole in a dam only to see cracks open a few feet away. The breaking point came on July 15th, final minute of a game against the Connecticut Sun. Clark went down clutching her right groin, the opposite side this time. That injury sealed her fate for the season. And just when fans thought it couldn't get worse, August brought another gut punch. During rehab, Clark suffered a bone bruise in her left ankle. That confirmed what everyone suspected. Her body was breaking down under pressure. From start to finish, her sophomore campaign dissolved into a cycle of injuries and false starts. By season's end, she had played just 13 games. A sophomore year that was supposed to be her breakout instead turned into one long shutdown.
This is on your head, Kathy Engelbert, and the rest of the WNBA Players Association executive leadership who failed to hold officials and players accountable for the barbaric style of play the Fever and Caitlin Clark have had to endure this year. Kathy, resign.
If there's one phrase fans will never forget from this saga, it's day to day. Every time an update was given, the team used it. Quad tightness? Day to day. Groin strain? Day to day. Even after the July 15th groin injury that ultimately ended her season, the messaging stayed the same, day to day. That language kept fans hopeful. It suggested Clark was right around the corner. And with tickets already sold, with arenas expanding capacity just to host her, day to day became a business tool as much as a medical update. The reality was different. When Clark returned briefly from her first quad strain, she didn't look right. Her minutes were restricted, her efficiency dipped. She looked like a player trying to fight through discomfort, never at full strength. Fans noticed, analysts noticed, and the whispers began. Was she being rushed back too soon? Even coach Stephanie White dropped subtle hints. She told reporters Clark wasn't doing much contact work, which is basically code for she's not close. But that detail was always buried under upbeat language about progress and evaluation. By the time Clark's season officially ended, many fans felt duped. The optimism never matched the reality, and the gap between those two narratives is why anger exploded once the news dropped. There's a medical truth to all this too. Athletes who return too quickly from one injury often overcompensate, and that sets off a chain reaction. Clark's season was a textbook example. Quad tightness turned into a quad strain. That strain shifted stress into the groin. A groin injury on one side eventually led to a groin injury on the other. Then came an ankle bruise during rehab. It was like watching dominoes fall. The body can only carry so much stress, and when one part isn't healed, another part takes the hit. By the end, Clark's entire lower body seemed compromised. Fans didn't need a medical degree to see it. Every time she stepped back onto the court, she looked tentative. Every time she jogged in warm-ups, people held their breath. And every time the Fever called it day to day, frustration grew louder. Clark isn't just any player. She's the face of the league. She's the rookie who shattered viewership records in 2024. She's the reason ticket sales spiked nationwide. So when her season unraveled, it wasn't just about losing a talented guard, it was about losing the story that kept casual fans tuning in. The Fever's announcement tried to frame it positively. Her long-term health is the priority, and she'll be back in 2026 stronger than ever. But Clark's own words cut deeper. She admitted she spent hours in the gym every day chasing one goal, getting back on the floor. And when asked how she felt, she didn't sugarcoat it. Disappointed isn't a big enough word. That honesty hit harder than any press release. It revealed just how much she poured into trying to salvage her season, only to watch it dissolve piece by piece. But here's where this story takes another turn. Injuries alone don't explain the frustration. Fans also pointed to the way Clark was treated on the floor. From her rookie season onward, Clark has absorbed a level of physical punishment rarely seen for a marquee player. She took nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls across the WNBA last year. Clips of her being shoved, pulled, and hit spread across social media after nearly every nationally televised game. And more often than not, whistles stayed silent. Fans asked the obvious question: how is the league's brightest star taking so much contact without consistent protection from referees? This wasn't just about fairness. It had consequences. A player already battling quad and groin injuries kept taking hard hits, and that only increased the risk of further damage. Critics argued the league failed to protect its most valuable asset. The debate quickly grew beyond basketball. Fans compared it to workplace safety. In any other job, they argued, repeated physical punishment without protection wouldn't just be controversial, it would be criminal. There's also the commercial side. Clark's presence was money in the bank. The Fever sold out road games across the country. TV ratings skyrocketed whenever she was on screen. Cities doubled capacity just to host her. So when the team kept calling her day-to-day, fans started to connect the dots. Were they keeping hope alive to keep tickets moving? Was the league prioritizing short-term profits over transparency about her health? That perception matters. Whether or not it was intentional, fans felt strung along. And when the official announcement finally landed, it confirmed what many already suspected: she was never truly close to coming back. Now comes the survival test. The Fever sit at 21-20, holding the 8th and final playoff seed with just 3 games left. The Los Angeles Sparks are closing fast, only a game and a half behind. Every possession, every quarter could decide Indiana's fate. Without Clark, the responsibility shifts. Kelsey Mitchell has stepped into the role of offensive engine, carrying the scoring load when games stall. Aaliyah Boston remains the rock in the paint, drawing double teams and anchoring the defense. Role players have also stepped up. Lexi Hull has carved out a spot with her perimeter defense and hustle. Sophie Cunningham provides toughness and outside shooting. Odyssey Sims, signed mid-season, has brought veteran stability to the backcourt. It isn't flashy. It isn't headline-grabbing. But it's kept Indiana alive in a playoff race that looked doomed when Clark went down. But this story isn't just about one team. It's about the league. Clark's absence exposed weaknesses in communication, in officiating consistency, and in how the WNBA protects its stars. Fans lost trust in day-to-day updates. They saw highlight after highlight of Clark taking unnecessary hits, and they watched the league lean on her for marketing while her body broke down. For a league trying to grow, credibility is everything. Clark was the bridge to bigger audiences, national coverage, and mainstream relevance. Losing her, not just to injury but amid a storm of criticism, was the worst-case scenario. So here we are. Caitlin Clark's 2025 season is over after just 13 games. A timeline of injuries, a cloud of vague updates, and a storm of criticism about officiating and transparency have left fans frustrated. The Fever still have a chance to make the playoffs, but it will take everything from Mitchell, Boston, Hull, Cunningham, and the rest of the roster. And the WNBA now faces bigger questions about how it protects its stars and how it communicates with its fans. Caitlin Clark's words said it best: disappointed isn't a big enough word. Now it's your turn. Do you believe the Fever can still reach the postseason without Clark? And do you think the WNBA mishandled its biggest star? Drop your thoughts and a message of support for Clark in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss updates. We'll keep covering the story as it develops. Because one thing is clear, Caitlin Clark may be sidelined for now, but her impact on the league isn't going anywhere.